Polo the polar bear, and the gift of the northern lights. In the heart of the Arctic, where snow covered everything like a soft white blanket, lived a polar bear named Polo. Polo was known to be the strongest of all the bears, but also the kindest. He spent his days ice fishing and helping the Arctic animals when they needed something. However, there was one time of year that made him feel a special excitement: Christmas. Every year, during Christmas Eve, the lights of the northern lights filled the sky with bright colors. But this year the lights did not appear. Worried, Polo decided he had to do something. He knew that the northern lights were not only beautiful, but they also brought joy and peace to everyone during Christmas. Without the lights, the celebration would not be the same. Polo set out in search of answers. On his journey, he met his friend Lumi, a snow fox who was also worried.
"What will we do, Polo? Christmas won't be the same without those magical lights,"
said Lumi worriedly. Polo replied,
"Don't worry, Lumi. We'll find a solution. I've heard of a legend about the Arctic crystal, a jewel that can bring lights back to the sky if found by a pure heart."
The two friends set out to find the Arctic crystal. They crossed glaciers and snowy mountains, helping each other at every step. Along the way, they found Koda, an Arctic dog who joined the quest, using his incredible sense of smell to guide them. After days of searching, they came to a cave hidden deep within an ice mountain. Inside, a soft glow shone. As they approached, Polo and his friends saw that it was the Arctic crystal, sparkling and beautiful. Suddenly, a magical reindeer appeared. It was the guardian of the crystal. The reindeer had been designated to only deliver it to those with true goodness in their hearts. Polo, Lumi, and Koda explained their mission.
"We want to bring back the northern lights so that all the animals in the Arctic can celebrate Christmas with joy."
The reindeer, moved by their words, bowed his head and allowed them to take the Arctic crystal. The friends thanked them and quickly returned home. When they arrived, they located the crystal where the legend indicated. Instantly, the lights of the northern lights shone again, filling the sky with vibrant colors that illuminated the snow and the hearts of each animal. Everyone celebrated with joy and gratitude, and Christmas was as magical as ever. Polo, Lumi, and Koda hugged each other, knowing that together they had achieved something special. The magical reindeer watched them from a distance with a smile on his face, knowing that the Arctic was in good hands. Lumi, the snow fox and the gift of Christmas Eve. In the Arctic, where the snow never stops falling and the days are short and cold, there lived a snow fox named Lumi. With his soft white fur and bright eyes, Lumi was a curious fox and always willing to help others. Christmas was his favorite time of year, not because of the gifts, but because of the magic that filled the air and brought all the animals of the Arctic together. This year, Lumi was excited for the arrival of Christmas Eve. He knew that on that special night, something magical always happened. The animals of the Arctic gathered together to share stories, sweets, and most importantly, a special gift that they exchanged with each other. But this year, something different happened. The most important gift of Christmas Eve had disappeared. The Christmas Eve tree, a magical tree that appeared deep in the forest every Christmas, had not blossomed.
"What shall we do?"
asked the little snowy hedgehog.
"Without the tree, Christmas won't be the same."
Lumi walked away to think. She knew that the Christmas tree only bloomed when all the animals in the forest were together.
"So does that mean we're not together?"
On her way, Lumi found her friend Mila, a little hare who looked worried.
"Lumi, I've been looking for the tree, but I haven't had any luck. What do you think is going on?"
Lumi thought for a moment and replied,
"I think that for the tree to bloom, we have to look for it together, like a big family."
Convinced that this was the key, Lumi and Mila began to gather all the animals in the Arctic. Finally, when all the animals were gathered under the moonlight, something magical happened. Before their eyes, the Christmas tree appeared. Its branches were covered in lights that shone like stars in the night. All the animals fell silent, admiring the beauty of the tree. Lumi, with a smile on her face, thought,
I knew we would find him. Christmas is special because it brings us all together. The real gift is being together.
The animals celebrated under the Christmas Eve tree, thanking Lumi for reminding them what Christmas really meant. And so the most magical night of the year ended with all the animals united, knowing that as long as they were together, Christmas would always be perfect. Lila the Arctic Hare and the Unexpected Gift. On a cold December night, Lila the Arctic Hare looked up at the starry sky from her little shelter in the snow, feeling a little lonely. Although the night was beautiful, something in her heart longed for a little more company. Lila had heard the animals talk about Christmas Eve, a magical date when everyone shared and celebrated together. However, she thought that no one would come to visit her, since she lived in a faraway, hidden area. But then, hearing a faint noise in the distance, her heart began to beat with excitement. As she approached, she saw her friends, a group of small snow hares carrying with them some twigs and berries.
Lila, we know that this night is special and we wanted to celebrate it with you,
said one of the hares. Lila was speechless as her friends handed her a small bouquet of fir branches and red berries. Although it wasn't a big gift, the warmth she felt when she saw her friends made her heart fill with joy. Lila and the hares began to dance and do pirouettes in the snow, while their paws left footprints on the white ground. Hearing the laughter, a family of Arctic foxes and some tundra birds joined in the celebration. Between laughter and singing, Lila understood that the true gift of Christmas was not in the objects, but in the love and company of her friends. That night, everyone shared stories and sang until the sun began to peek over the horizon. As she said goodbye to her friends at dawn, Lila hugged them one by one.
Thank you for coming,
she said with a smile.
This has been the best Christmas ever.
From that day on, Lila never felt alone in the forest again, because she knew she had a family of friends who would always be with her. Vicky the Turtle and the Wishing Tree. In the middle of a snowy forest, there was the Wishing Tree, a magical tree that every Christmas granted a special wish to the animals that came to it with a heart full of kindness. Vicky, a kind and calm turtle, had always wanted to visit the Wishing Tree. Every year she saw the other animals run excitedly to the tree, while she, due to her slow steps, stayed behind.
Maybe next year,
Vicky thought every Christmas, but this year, she decided it would be different.
even if I'm not fast, I'll get to the wishing tree,
she told herself, as she prepared for the long journey. At dawn on Christmas Day, Vicky began her journey, advancing with a firm and determined step through the snowy forest. Halfway through her journey, Vicky found a family of squirrels that had become trapped in the middle of the river.
Help, Vicky! We can't cross.
The squirrels cried, shivering from the cold. Without hesitation, Vicky waded into the water and, using her shell as a raft, helped them across. The squirrels thanked her excitedly and promised to wait for her at the wishing tree. Further on, Vicky found a little mouse standing next to a snow-blocked burrow.
My family is inside, but I can't get in,
said the mouse. Vicky patiently used her strength to clear the entrance, allowing the mouse to join her family.
You're very kind, Vicky. I hope to see you by the tree,
said the mouse with a smile before disappearing into the burrow. When Vicky finally reached the clearing in the forest, the sun was just about to set. The wishing tree was shining with a magical light, surrounded by the animals that had arrived before. Seeing her, everyone clapped and greeted her with joy.
You did it, Vicky,
exclaimed Nico the rabbit. Vicky approached the tree, her heart full of excitement.
I wish that this Christmas brings joy and warmth to everyone in the forest,
she said in a soft voice. The wishing tree shone even brighter, and a shower of little stars fell upon the forest, bringing happiness and unity to all the animals. That night, as everyone celebrated together, Vicky realized that she had not only accomplished her goal, but had discovered something more important. The true spirit of Christmas was not in the wishing tree, but in kind actions and time spent with others. Nina the Owl and Christmas Decorations. As she flew, Nina the Arctic Owl noticed that all the animals were busy decorating their homes for Christmas. Bunnies were hanging garlands of berries, foxes were wrapping branches in colorful ribbons, and even mice were busy decorating. Nina watched everything with curiosity.
What if I decorate my tree too?
She thought excitedly, but there was one problem. Nina had never decorated anything before. Determined to give it a try, she went in search of special materials to make her home the prettiest of all. Nina flew from tree to tree collecting things that she thought were beautiful. But as she tried to hang decorations on her tree, everything started to fall. Twigs slipped, flowers broke, and colorful feathers flew away in the wind.
Oh no! This isn't as easy as it looks.
Nina sighed. Just then, her friend Tommy the fox walked under the tree and heard her.
Hello, Nina. Do you want me to help you? I'm good at finding pretty things on the ground.
Nina accepted with a big smile, and together they started looking for decorations. Little by little, other friends joined in, collecting beautiful objects for Nina, like Sunny the squirrel who brought golden nuts. In the end, they all helped Nina hang the ornaments on her tree. When they were done, Nina felt happy and grateful. Her home was not only decorated, but it was filled with the joy and help of all her friends.
Thank you, friends. This is the best Christmas tree ever, because every ornament reminds me of you.
Nina said, her eyes shining. In the end, they all gathered around Nina's tree, sang Christmas songs, and celebrated together. And Nina learned that the most special thing about Christmas was not the ornaments, but the time we share with those we love. Robert the Penguin and the Ice Star. In the cold Arctic, in a small penguin colony, Christmas was almost here. Robert, the youngest and most curious penguin in the colony, looked excitedly at the sky, hoping to see the ice star. A special star that shone every Christmas and that, according to the older penguins, brought good luck to all who saw it.
This year I will be the first to find the ice star.
Robert thought with determination. He knew that the star appeared at the top of an icy hill, a difficult place to climb for such a small penguin. However, Robert was determined to see the star and make a wish for his family. One night, Robert began his way up the hill. The ice crunched under his paws, and the icy wind blew hard, but he did not stop. Soon, he began to hear footsteps behind him. When he turned, he saw that his friends, Melly and Tico, were also following him.
Why did you come? This is my mission,
said Robert, somewhat annoyed. But Melly replied,
We didn't want you to go alone, Robert. Christmas is about being together.
Robert was surprised, but he was also happy not to be alone. As they went on, the path became more and more difficult. The ice was slippery, and they had to climb over blocks of snow. Without the help of his friends, Robert would not have been able to move forward. With mutual support, the three friends finally reached the top of the hill. When they reached the top, Robert, Melly, and Tico looked up at the sky, but the star did not appear.
What if the ice star is not real?
Asked Robert sadly. But then, as they looked at each other, the friends noticed something special. The reflection of the Arctic lights shone in their eyes.
Maybe the ice star is just a legend, but I think the true glow of Christmas is in the friendship and love we share,
said Tico. Robert smiled and hugged his friends. That night, they returned to the colony and shared the story with their families. All the penguins gathered around, and together, they celebrated the most special Christmas of all, with the glow of friendship lighting up the night. Alex the Moose and the Christmas Light. On a snowy December morning, Alex the Moose woke up very excited. This day was special. Every year, the forest animals chose one of them to turn on the big Christmas light, which was placed on the highest hill, to illuminate the forest and start the celebrations. This year, to Alex's surprise, they chose him.
It's such a great honor,
exclaimed Alex, his eyes shining with excitement.
I promise I'll make this Christmas the best one ever.
The animals handed the torch to Alex and said,
Just carry this torch to the big hill. When you get there, just light it and we'll all come and celebrate.
Excited, Alex started off. Along the way, he met his friend Benito the beaver.
Hello, Benito. Do you want to come with me to turn on the Christmas light?
Asked Alex.
Of course,
replied Benito, and together they continued on their way. Soon after they met Mimi the raccoon, who also decided to join them. Just as they were about to reach the hill, a strong blizzard began to blow. The snow was falling so hard that Alex could barely see the path.
Oh no! If we don't get to the hill, we won't be able to turn on the Christmas light,
he exclaimed worriedly. Benito and Mimi, seeing Alex's difficulty, said,
Don't worry, Alex. We're going to help you.
Benito used branches to clear the snow, and Mimi, with her agility, found a safe path between the trees. Thanks to the help of his friends, Alex reached the hill. Very carefully, he brought the torch to the indicated spot. Instantly, a warm, bright light illuminated the entire forest, and the animals began to arrive, singing and celebrating. That night, while everyone was celebrating, Alex looked at his friends and said,
Thank you for helping me turn on the Christmas lights. I learned that sometimes the most important thing is not to do everything alone, but to have friends who are by our side.
Timmy and the Lost Gift. In a cold Arctic landscape, where the wind sang between the glaciers, lived Timmy, a little Arctic tern with a big heart. Timmy was known for his curious and adventurous spirit. Timmy loved to explore. One day, as he was flying near floating ice, something shiny caught his eye. As he got closer, he saw a beautiful gift wrapped in gold paper, tied with a red bow. Timmy looked around, but no one was around.
Who could have lost this?
He thought. Upon closer inspection, he noticed a tag that read, To Lars the bear, with love.
I must return it,
he said determinedly. He knew that Lars the polar bear lived on the distant Crystal Mountain, a place difficult for even the strongest animals to reach. But Timmy didn't let that stop him. He took the gift in his beak and took flight. The path was full of challenges. First, Timmy had to cross a frozen lake, where the winds were so strong that he almost lost his balance. As he struggled against the gusts, a group of seals spotted him and offered help.
Come with us across the ice. We can guide you to the safest path,
the seals said. Thanks to their guidance, Timmy managed to make his way. Further on, the cold was so intense that his wings began to go numb. He sought shelter in a cave, where he met Luna the Arctic hare.
What are you doing so far from home, Timmy?
I'm taking this present to Lars. It's important that it arrives before Christmas,
explained Timmy.
You're very brave. I'm sure you'll make it,
she said before saying goodbye. Finally, Timmy reached the base of the mountain. It was high, cold, and slippery. Clouds covered the top, but Timmy didn't give up.
Lars must get his present. I can do it,
he thought, remembering everything he had overcome so far. Timmy reached the top, where he found Lars sitting under a snow-covered fir tree. The big polar bear looked sad, staring out at the horizon.
Lars, I found this on the ice. It's for you,
Timmy shouted, landing in front of him. Lars picked up the gift with his huge paws and carefully opened it. Inside was a small necklace with a bell, a gift from his sister who lived far away.
Thank you, Timmy. This gift means a lot to me. I thought I'd never see him again,
Lars said with tears of joy. As Lars hung the necklace on the fir tree, Timmy felt his heart fill with happiness. That Christmas, Lars invited Timmy to stay and celebrate with his friends. From then on, everyone in the Arctic knew Timmy as the little bird who, with courage and kindness, had filled Christmas with joy. Ricky the Robin and the Christmas Song. In a snowy forest lived Ricky, a little robin with a melodious voice. Ricky loved Christmas, but this year he noticed that the forest was quieter than usual. The animals seemed busy, and the cold was causing many to stay in their shelters.
How can we have a Christmas forest without songs and joy?
Ricky wondered, feeling a little sad. But after thinking for a while, he had a great idea.
I'm going to sing the best Christmas song the forest has ever heard,
he said determinedly. He knew that with a little effort, his music could fill the forest with joy. Ricky practiced every day, trying to hit the perfect note. But although he sang with great enthusiasm, he felt that something was missing. His friend Peppa the squirrel, upon hearing him, said,
Ricky, your voice is beautiful, but you need a choir to accompany you. Why don't you invite some friends?
Ricky thought it was a great idea, so he flew off to find help. First he found Tom the mouse, who immediately agreed to join him. Then, he convinced Tino the rabbit and Luna the owl to join the choir. Little by little, more and more animals were encouraged to participate in Ricky's big Christmas song. The days passed, and Ricky's choir practiced tirelessly. The news of the Christmas concert had spread throughout the forest, and the animals began to decorate their homes with berries and pine cones for the occasion. As Christmas approached, the forest clearing was filled with lights and decorations made by the animals. Finally, Christmas Eve arrived, and Ricky and his choir stood in the center of the clearing. All the animals gathered in silence, and the stars twinkled in the sky, as if they wanted to light up the celebration. Ricky took a deep breath and began to sing, his voice echoing clearly in the cold winter night. The chorus followed, and soon a sweet, joyful melody filled the air. The animals listened in delight to the beautiful spectacle of their friends. Ricky's friends sang with all their hearts, and their voices blended so well that they seemed like one sound. Little by little, everyone in the forest began to join in, making the Christmas song a true hymn of joy and togetherness. When they finished singing, everyone burst into applause and laughter, and Ricky felt his chest fill with happiness.
Thank you, friends. This has been the best Christmas ever, because we have shared it together,
said Ricky. That night, the forest glowed with joy, and each animal returned home feeling the warmth of friendship and the Christmas spirit in their hearts. Lucky the Saint Bernard and the Christmas Rescue. In a snow-covered mountain village lived Lucky, a strong and kind Saint Bernard known throughout the region for his rescue skills. During the winter, Lucky was always on the alert, especially at Christmas, when the snowfall was the heaviest. On Christmas Eve, as Lucky rested by the fireplace, alarming news arrived. Toby, a little hill rabbit, had gone out to look for food and had not returned yet. Toby's family was worried, and they knew that with the snowstorm it would be difficult to find him.
Don't worry, I'll find him,
said Lucky, fully determined to help his friends. Lucky set out quickly, his bell tinkling as he crossed the deep snow. His big nose and keen sense of smell guided him through the trees and the white blanket that covered the forest. Although the wind was strong and visibility was poor, Lucky moved forward with determination, knowing that little Toby needed him. After walking a long way, Lucky caught a faint scent in the snow. Following the trail, he soon found some tiny footprints. They were Toby's. The footprints led to a rocky area, where he saw a small cave. Lucky poked his snout out, and saw the little rabbit, shivering from the cold.
Lucky, I got lost while looking for food and couldn't find my way back,
said Toby in a weak voice. Lucky looked at him fondly, crouched down, and let Toby climb onto his back to protect him from the wind and snow.
Easy, little one. I'll take you back home.
The return was difficult, but Lucky moved forward without stopping. making sure Toby was well wrapped up on his back. With each step, they got closer to the village, where Toby's family was anxiously waiting. Despite the cold, Lucky didn't stop walking until he finally saw the lights of the village shining in the distance. When they arrived, Toby's family ran up to them, relieved and excited to see them safe and sound.
"Thank you, Lucky,"
said Toby's dad, hugging his son with tears of joy.
"We wouldn't have had a happy Christmas without you."
News of the rescue spread quickly, and all the animals and people in the village decided to celebrate in Lucky's honor. They prepared a big Christmas dinner, and by the fireplace, Toby told of his adventure, once again thanking Lucky for his bravery and kindness. That night, as everyone shared, Lucky rested happily, knowing that he had helped reunite a family just in time for the holiday. Bruno the deer and the lost Christmas ornaments. It was a cold December morning in the snowy reserve, and Bruno, a young deer, was happily jumping through the fresh snow. With his bright, curious eyes, Bruno explored every corner of the forest, marveling at the sparkle of the frost-covered branches. As he walked along, Bruno saw something shiny under the snow.
"It's a little bell,"
he exclaimed, surprised to see it buried. Lifting it up, he discovered that there were several more ornaments scattered on the ground: golden pine cones, red bows, and even a small garland.
"These ornaments must have fallen from somewhere,"
Bruno thought. As he looked at them, he had an idea. Return each ornament to its owner and help decorate the forest for Christmas. Bruno began his journey to Nina the squirrel, who was busy snuggling up to her tree.
"Hello, Nina. I found this red bough and I think it's yours."
Thank you, Bruno. This bough is part of my Christmas wreath.
Nina replied with a big smile.
Why don't we hang it on the tree together?
Bruno and Nina decorated the nearest branch with the bough, and Nina's home became much more Christmassy. Bruno continued his journey to Pepe the fox's burrow. Pepe was brushing the snow off his driveway when he saw Bruno arrive with a golden pine cone.
"Pepe, I think this pine cone is yours."
Thank you so much, Bruno. Without this pine cone, my burrow wouldn't be complete for Christmas,
said Pepe, and together they hung it on a branch next to his cave. Little by little, Bruno handed out the decorations and helped the animals decorate their homes. Every corner of the forest was beginning to fill with Christmas colors and decorations. Cleo the rabbit was trying to hang a garland around her burrow, but she couldn't reach a high branch. Bruno offered to help, and with his height, he put the garland in place.
"Thank you, Bruno. Now my home is ready for Christmas too,"
said Cleo happily. Up ahead, Bruno saw Luna the owl, who asked him for help finding something shiny for her nest. Bruno handed her a little golden bell, and Luna gratefully placed the bell high on her branch, where the wind would make it jingle softly. Finally, when Bruno had delivered all the decorations, he noticed that the entire forest was filled with lights and colors. The trees were sparkling with bows and garlands, the burrows were decorated, and there was a festive atmosphere everywhere. That night, all the animals gathered in the central clearing to celebrate and congratulate Bruno.
"Thank you for your generosity, Bruno. Thanks to you, we'll have the most beautiful Christmas ever this year."
Bruno smiled, feeling full of joy.
"I didn't do anything special. I just wanted to return the decorations and help make the forest look pretty. Christmas is better when we share it."
That night, as the stars twinkled in the sky and the animals sang together, Bruno felt very lucky to be surrounded by friends. He had learned that the true spirit of Christmas is in generosity and sharing special moments with others. Snow, Mrs. Claus's cat. At the North Pole, where the lights of the northern lights lit up the sky, lived Snow, an elegant white cat with eyes as bright as stars. Snow was Mrs. Claus' beloved companion, who always called him her special little helper. While Santa was busy with the presents and the reindeer, Mrs. Claus had another important task: making the magical Christmas cookies. These cookies were special because they were not only delicious, but they also gave Santa and the elves extra energy to finish their work on time. One cold night, as Mrs. Claus was finishing her recipe, a group of mischievous elves ran through the kitchen. In their haste, they accidentally knocked over the jar of magic dust that gave the cookies their special sparkle.
Oh no! How will we ever make the magic cookies now?
Cried Mrs. Claus, worried. Snow, with her curious spirit, jumped up to look at the mess.
Don't worry, Mrs. Claus. I'll find more magic dust.
Snow meowed with determination. Snow knew that the magic dust could only be found on the trees that sparkled deep within the enchanted forest. Wasting no time, Snow stepped out into the cold, knowing that he had to find the dust or Santa wouldn't have enough energy for Christmas night. The path into the forest was full of challenges. First, he had to cross a frozen lake that creaked beneath his paws. But Snow, agile and determined, leapt from ice to ice very confidently. Further ahead, he found a large wall of snow blocking the way. Snow used his claws to climb it with ease and reach the other side. Finally, he reached the enchanted forest, where ice stars sparkled like diamonds on the branches of the trees. But just as he was about to collect the magic dust, Frost, the guardian of the forest, an old owl with frosty feathers, appeared.
"Why have you come here?"
asked Frost in a deep voice.
We need the magic dust for the Christmas cookies. Without it, Santa and the elves won't be able to finish the presents on time.
Snow explained respectfully. Frost, impressed by the cat's bravery and sincerity, smiled.
"Take what you need, brave little fellow. Your pure heart has saved this Christmas."
With the magic dust on his paws, Snow returned to the workshop just in time. Mrs. Claus was delighted to see him enter with the precious ingredient.
Well done, Snow. I knew I could count on you,
she said as she hugged the cat affectionately. That night, the magic cookies were ready, and Santa was able to deliver all the presents with the renewed energy he needed. Snow curled up by the fireplace, satisfied that he had helped save Christmas. From then on, he was known as the hero of the North Pole. And every year he received a special plate of magic cookies as a thank you. Timothy the Badger and the Lost Christmas. In a corner of the snowy forest lived Timothy the Badger, known for being a lonely and rather grumpy animal. While everyone else was preparing for Christmas by decorating and celebrating, Timothy stayed in his cave, keeping nuts and berries for himself. He didn't like others visiting him, and he never understood why Christmas was such an important date for the forest animals.
What nonsense!
He muttered every time he heard the laughter of the animals decorating the forest clearing.
None of this is necessary.
Every year, his friends tried to invite him to celebrate, but he always responded the same way.
I don't have time for such things.
However, on a cold Christmas night, while Timothy was sleeping, he heard a soft knock on the window of his cave. He woke up with surprise and saw a figure shining in the darkness. The spirit of Christmas passed. It was an old badger, who looked at him with a kind smile.
"Timothy, I have come to show you something important,"
said the spirit. Before Timothy could protest, the spirit took him on a journey into his memories. Timothy saw himself as a young boy, playing with other badgers in the forest, and sharing the first snowfall with them. He remembered the joy he felt waiting for Christmas, and how much fun it was to put up the decorations and sing with his friends.
"You used to love Christmas,"
the spirit said with a smile.
"Remember how happy you were sharing it with others."
Timothy, seeing those memories, felt a slight warmth in his heart, but he quickly ignored it. When he returned to his cave, still confused, another visitor appeared. The spirit of Christmas present, a cheerful and bright rabbit, who invited him to see how the forest animals were celebrating at that very moment. The spirit led him to observe the forest clearing, where he saw the rabbits, foxes, and squirrels sharing their provisions and decorating together. Despite the cold, the animals laughed and danced around a small campfire, sharing what they had to make the night more special. Timothy, hidden in the shadows, couldn't help but feel lonely seeing the warmth of his friends. But still, he kept thinking that Christmas wasn't for him. Back in his cave, he met the third visitor, the spirit of Christmas future, a tall, shadowy figure who led him to see a possible future. In this future, Timothy was alone in his cave, surrounded by all the provisions he had saved. The forest was empty, without lights or laughter, because the other animals no longer visited him or remembered him.
This is the future that awaits you if you continue to close your heart,
the spirit said sadly.
You still have time to change things and open yourself to friendship.
Timothy woke up in his cave, feeling for the first time in years a desire to do something different. He realized that Christmas could be much better if he shared it with others, as he used to do in his youth. Without wasting any time, Timothy took some of the nuts, berries, and pine cones he had saved and headed out to the forest clearing. The animals looked at him in surprise as they approached with a shy smile.
Can I join the celebration?
He asked, a little embarrassed. The animals welcomed him with joy, and together they decorated the forest clearing with the provisions Timothy had brought. They all gathered to share stories, sing, and enjoy a dinner under the stars. That night, Timothy felt a warmth in his heart that he had not felt in years. He understood that Christmas was not just another holiday, but a time to open one's heart, share, and remember the value of friendship. Rudolph and the Mystery of the Red Nose. A long time ago in a corner of the North Pole, specifically in Santa Claus' workshop, a little reindeer named Rudolph was born. While the other reindeer had black noses, Rudolph's was a bright red color. Not only that, his nose glowed like a little lamp. The other reindeer would play pranks on him and laugh at him. Although Rudolph tried to ignore them, deep down he felt sad. Why was his nose so different? One night, while everyone was asleep, Rudolph ran away into the forest, determined to find answers.
There must be a reason for my nose being like this,
he thought as he walked through the snow under the moonlight. Without realizing it, his steps led him to a cave. Intrigued, Rudolph approached and entered. There, he found an old reindeer named Nim, known to be the keeper of the ancient secrets of the North Pole. Nim, with a warm smile, looked at Rudolph's bright nose and said,
Young Rudolph, I've been waiting for your visit.
Do you know why my nose is red and bright?
Asked Rudolph, his eyes full of hope. Nim nodded and began to tell him a story.
A long time ago, one Christmas, a terrible snowstorm occurred, making it impossible to see the road. The children of the world were almost left without their Christmas. It was then that the heavens sent us a very special gift, the light of the Christmas spirit.
The light of the Christmas spirit?
Asked Rudolph, fascinated.
It is a magical light, capable of shining through the darkest storm. But that light could not float alone through the skies. It needed someone special to carry it in their heart, or in this case, on their nose.
Are you saying that my nose is the light of the Christmas spirit?
Asked Rudolph, surprised.
That's right. You are the one chosen to carry that light. When the time comes, your light will guide Santa and all his reindeer through the darkest of nights.
Rudolph was silent for a moment, feeling a mixture of pride and wonder.
But why me?
Because you have a pure heart, full of kindness and courage. That's the true magic of your light.
Years passed, and one day, when Santa was preparing the sleigh for the big Christmas night, a thick fog covered the entire sky. Santa's reindeer were worried.
How are we going to guide the sleigh through this fog?
Asked Donner, one of the most experienced reindeer. That's when Rudolph, remembering Nim's words, said to Santa Claus,
Let me guide the sleigh, Santa. My nose can light the way.
Santa Claus, seeing Rudolph's courage, smiled and said,
Of course, Rudolph. With your light, there is nothing that can stop us.
And so, Rudolph led Santa's sleigh through the fog. Thanks to him, all the children received their presents and Christmas was saved. The other reindeer apologized to Rudolph for being so cruel to him and recognized how important his help was. From then on, Rudolph became not only the most special reindeer on Santa's team, but also a symbol of hope and light. Every Christmas, when the lights on the tree shine, the children remember Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, who will always be there to light the way, no matter how dark the night. The donkey in the manger. In a small stable outside Bethlehem, lived a humble donkey named Benjamin. Benjamin was not very big or strong like the horses, but he was known for his loyalty and kindness. Although his life was simple, he always found joy in the little things: the warmth of the sun, the company of the other animals, and the scent of hay. One night, the sky lit up with a bright star, bigger and more beautiful than any star Benjamin had ever seen before. Suddenly, a couple came to the stable. The man named Joseph was looking for a place for his wife Mary to rest, as she was about to give birth. Unable to find a room at the inn, the owners offered them shelter in the stable, and Benjamin found himself sharing their humble home with them. That night, as the star in the sky shone even brighter, in the silence of the stable, baby Jesus was born. The air was filled with a peace that Benjamin had never felt before. Benjamin, though he was only a humble donkey, understood that something extraordinary had happened. With his head close to the manger, he looked at baby Jesus, feeling a deep love and respect for the life that had just begun. Something inside Benjamin told him that he should protect this baby, since he would be someone very important. The days passed, and Benjamin took care of the family as if it were his duty. He kept the stable warm with his gentle breath, and always made sure that Mary and Jesus had everything they needed.
Lord, it is an honor for me that you have chosen me to take care of your son,
he said one day after having dreamed that God had chosen that place for the birth of his son, because he knew that Benjamin would protect him. When the three wise men arrived guided by the star, Benjamin watched them in amazement as they offered their gifts to the child: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Before leaving, Melchior told Benjamin that he had a message for him. God was proud and grateful for everything he had done for Jesus. And so Benjamin, the donkey who had lived a simple life, became part of the most important story ever told. From that day on, his stable was remembered as the place where love, peace, and hope flourished.